It's a Friday, TGIF. Welcome to April 11th, 2025, your Day Weather Podcast, brought to you by ConverseCountyTourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's Railroad Heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope Legend. Glen Rock boasts scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small-town charm. Plan your visit at ConverseCountyTourism.com. Well, how about that for a photo? There from the Red Desert with the Wind Rivers, snow-covered Wind Rivers in the background. It got busy out in the Red Desert over the last couple of days, as you'll see here in a moment. The big warm-up continues today and into Saturday. Boy, you're going to like the weather today. You're going to like the weather for a good part of Saturday as well, but the weather starts to change for some of you during the day Saturday. But for a lot of you in the central and southern areas, you'll extend the warmth for a full day on Saturday. We still have that cold front and that change in the weather coming Sunday and Monday. It's going to make Sunday and Monday windy. Temperatures are going to start to go down. There's going to be some moisture in the northern areas. And on the southern end of the trough, we're going to see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms over extreme southern Wyoming and northern areas of Colorado into western Kansas and southwest Nebraska, kind of a narrow band that we've been showing you over the last few days. Then as we get into next week, we're still kind of in that muddy water zone where things still aren't quite clear yet. There could be some precipitation chances late Wednesday into Thursday of next week. We say maybe because, again, we're getting some conflicting signals. But some of the new data trending this way here early this morning is suggesting some type of frontal passage and maybe some precipitation chances during the middle part of the week. Temperatures will rebound behind the front a bit by Tuesday into Wednesday, but may go right down again by Thursday into Friday. We're still looking at some better agreement now finally evolving in the long term, and this is important because when I say here at the bullet point a needed pattern change, the needed pattern change means for the western United States a pattern that gets more wet again. April, you count on April to bring you some slow-moving spring weather events that can get you wet for not just a day or two, but you can kind of get into a pattern over a couple of weeks where you've got several precipitation chances. It looks like that's going to start to form by next weekend and through the last 10 days of April. We'll show you that here in a minute. I said it was busy out in the Red Desert, not only with that big buck antelope, but as you can see there with the sage grouse out and about, the big lek out there. And so great to see that. Just a great time of year to see things changing, including seeing the animals getting more busy. Now with the high pressure ridge overhead, you can see there's going to be a little bit of weather getting in the Pacific Northwest, some showers up into Montana later today, but high pressure is in control over a lot of the region. And the satellite imagery showing, with the exception of some high level lenticular clouds on the east side of the mountain ranges, there really won't be much going on, but there's your moisture approaching the Pacific Northwest coast. So there's our nice big high, and that high really pumping in the warm air for Saturday in many areas. And as we showed you yesterday, the temperature anomalies are going to be as much as 20 degrees above average or more, approaching 30 degrees above average or more in some areas. So today and Saturday, you can see the southward shift of the temperature anomaly does shift more towards Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, New Mexico, and the Panhandles during the day Saturday, with the cold air pushing into Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Then as we get into Sunday, that cold air comes in behind the trough. So this is by noon Monday. Quick moving low goes right along the U.S.-Canadian border. That's going to enter in some colder air by Monday. So you can see temperatures go in reverse. So Monday's temperatures will be much more, well, like you would expect. This time of year, you can have really big warm-ups. This time of year, you can have really big cool downs. Will this be a severe cool down? No. Certainly, though, enough to notice and remind you that we're not quite there yet. Here's the precipitation forecast through Monday. You can see North Dakota, Montana, southern Alberta, and Saskatchewan will pick up some decent amounts of rain and a little bit of wet snow out of this. This is the area of showers and thunderstorms that may develop in this narrow east-west band during the course of the day Sunday and into early Monday. There may be some pockets, especially in this band right here, where some decent measurable rain could occur in some areas. We'll see that in the spring as these troughs go through, instability forms on the backside of them that in the winter wouldn't produce any moisture. But this time of year, with the atmosphere getting warmer, more instability, you'll get some showers and thunderstorms to pop up. Then as we go and take a look at the long term, again, we're going to do some comparisons between the European model, the GFS model, and the AI version. This is where we're getting into muddied waters for next week. What happens next week is we get this cutoff low that will form off the coast of California, and we have this low up here in south central Canada. What is happening is that we're seeing a trend where this low is going to have some attraction to this cutoff low there. Kind of think of magnets. A lot of times low pressure systems, you really see this during hurricane season, will kind of want to gravitate towards each other. Or let's say the trend is there where they're going to want to come together. Well, the deterministic EM, the European model here, is starting to back this low further westward towards this low here. And that would push in a cold front. This is showing a cold front going through Montana, northeastern Wyoming, and the Dakotas into Nebraska Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The AI version is much stronger. See much further west this goes? If it goes further west like this, you're going to have a better precipitation event for Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, into the western high plains of rain and snow, and a pretty good drop in temperature. But we still have enough disagreement there on the intensity and the strength, but some of the other models are starting to trend that way. Now as we go out further, by Saturday, by next weekend, after this swings through and maybe brings moisture Wednesday night, Thursday, into early Friday, then on Saturday, that cutoff low starts to migrate eastward. This will produce areas of rain showers and thunderstorms over the Great Basin and the western areas of the United States. And then we're queuing up the next trough here. We're also building a high in the eastern Pacific that we talked about yesterday. So by the weekend after this one, we're going into that pattern change. And we're seeing a strong signal again with the Pacific North American oscillation of going into the negative phase starting next Friday into next weekend. And that's really showing up very strongly. That signal's there, and the signal's actually a little bit stronger. And you can see that. So by the time we get into next weekend, unsettled weather, better chances of precipitation start to evolve. And then the week after, the weekend after this, so we're talking around the 22nd of April here, we're starting to see the establishment of high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, which allows the troughs to come further west and settle into the western United States. So after what could be an unsettled Easter weekend of some precipitation chances, you can see that we're seeing that signal there of the high pressure in the eastern Pacific, a trough in the west. Of course, the details, this is too far out for details, but we can really see that signal there, and we're seeing it on the GFS, the AI, and the European. So they're different, right? But the placement of the major systems are in similar geographic locations. So that combined with these graphs here does suggest that the last 10 days of April into early May should trend more wet in the western United States, which would be really, really good to see. And one thing that'll happen in these patterns is that when you get a trough in the west, you're going to get a high in the southeastern United States. And the spin of the air masses at the surface will cause a southeasterly flow or southerly flow into the east slopes of the Rockies and into the high plains. This high will transport higher humidity air further north and westward. And as these lows in the spring come into the west, that feeds instability and moisture into the areas of higher humidity air. And this is where you get into April showers. Showers, thunderstorms that will start to pop up during the afternoon and evening hours. This type of pattern is really suited for that. And we see that by the end of the week after next, where that trough of low pressure is going to want to settle into the western United States. So keep your fingers in toes, but because this is what we need. This is what the central Rockies and the central and northern high plains needs. A low in the Great Basin in the western United States that wants to hang around for a while to pull in moisture and give us the needed spring precipitation that we really, really need. So we'll have to see. It'll take a while to evolve, but the agreement, the pattern change, we're getting more confident of. So you can see that in all three of the major model suites around the April 20th to the April 25th timeframe and likely beyond. Have yourself a great Friday and a good weekend. Enjoy the warm temperatures.